Welcome everyone to the latest webinar in our Engineerica Education Keynote Series. We are very pleased to be bringing you this complimentary presentation. We are very happy to see you here today. For those of you who are new to us, Engineerica specializes in academic center management systems for higher education. You might be familiar with some of our software applications such as AccuTrack, Academia, and AccuCampus. We started the Keynote Series for our clients and contacts who want to learn more about best practices and trends in higher education. Each month, we will feature a distinguished speaker to talk about hot topics in the academic support field. Next month, our speaker will be Abe Saunders of the College of Charleston, who will be speaking about self-care for learning center professionals. So we're very excited about that. And we will make an announcement through email and social media when registration opens for that. So be on the lookout. A quick introduction to myself, your host. I am Rachel Cook. I am a client success manager with Engineerica. I was previously a learning center manager in higher ed for 6 years. So like you all, I am very passionate about higher education and student success. I also have with me Nick Armstrong, one of our technical support specialists, who's here as my backup and also to help with any technical issues or questions that come up on our end, our speaker's end, or yours. And now I am pleased to introduce you to this month's speaker. Rachel Hoover is the Director of STAR Services at Lamar University. Rachel has provided academic support in higher education for the past 20 years through various roles, including coordinating and directing tutoring, mentoring first-year experience, peer-assisted learning, and academic recovery programs. She holds BA and MA degrees in sociology from Texas Tech University, and she has completed certification training in the National Coalition Building Institute at StrengthsQuest, and she serves as an ambassador for OnCourse. In her current role as Director of the Student Tutoring and Retention Services, or STAR, Rachel creates, implements, and oversees a variety of academic support programs designed to help students succeed at Lamar University. She strives to cultivate a culture of kindness, inclusivity, innovation, empowerment, laughter, and lifelong learning. And she is a mother, wife, ally, animal lover, collaborator, and work in progress. Just another note, we have made the slides for today available along with some other handouts in the handout section. You can feel free to download those at any point during the presentation, and we will also be emailing them as well with the recording within the next few days. So without further ado, Rachel, go ahead and take it away.
Okay. I am not seeing the option here to share my screen.
Yep, let me get that for you. All right.
So bear with us just a moment.
Just a moment longer. And here you are. You are now the presenter.
Great. Sometimes it takes just a minute to load. So I want to take this time just to say thank you for inviting me to share this information today. I'm so excited to be here and for this opportunity. I think that's so much of what we get into this field with is, you know, caring about students and sharing what we're doing. And I get to share something we're really proud of today, our Academic Success Conference. So let me see too, I'm still showing my blue circle, but when my screen share comes up, you'll see my PowerPoint and you can, one thing I wanted to share today is actual pictures from our success conference, so you could get part of the experience there and see what it actually looked like. Still waiting for a second, so let me just give it a couple seconds to load.
I can see your screen now.
Okay, we're good to go then.
Yep.
So you can see my PowerPoint, we're fine?
Yep, full screen.
Okay, great. So anyway, thank you for taking your time to join me today. I'm pretty good with being adaptable during this. I'm going to share some information, and if people have questions during it, feel free to interrupt me, and we'll get going that way. Okay, so just quickly to start out, just want to do an overview of what we're going to be diving into today. I think introductions and background information is important, so I'll be sharing some from my side and ask you to also share some from you as well. I think that's important. I want to go through the history, mission, vision, objectives of, you know, why did we even develop this Academic Success Conference? How did it come about? And then going into strategies and best practices, what have we learned through doing that? What's important to us, and what great information can I share with you if you're wanting to kick something off like this on your campus? I also want to share our impact, because that's always important. That's the number one thing. How does this affect our students? So I'm going to share some data that we have gathered, and also some information we've gotten from our students' mouths, which I think is the most important thing. What are they saying about it? And then we'll have some time to brainstorm and reflect and share what your next steps would be to implement an event or conference on your campus. So to get us kicked off, I'm just going to share a little bit about myself. I'm a very proud first generation college student. I was raised in a small town in West Texas of about 500 people. So I find it very important to me. That's a driving force in my life, that, I went to college and I had people support me and give me this opportunity. And I started as a tutor, and, then got my master's degree in sociology, and it was like, what's next? And I was given opportunities as an undergraduate and a graduate student to get involved in student support and academic support through not only, serving as a tutor, but also teaching a reading class. So I didn't know it at the time, but I had a passion for, helping others succeed in their opportunity at college. So I just kind of fell, probably like many of you, kind of fell into, I didn't, grow up thinking I'm going to be the director of academic support when I grow up. But I just fell into that, and I'm so glad I did, because, I get to live out my, what I call, it's not a job or career, but my calling to help extend this opportunity for others to be successful and help grow that belief in themselves, that they belong here and that they can do it. So I started out, as a tutor, went to a coordinator position for my first real job in student support services while I was a specialist, and then it just progressed from there. And like I said, what I love most about the work, and I think that's an important thing to talk about, why are we here? Every day I get to, shape the culture around how we talk to students, and how we advocate for them, and how we develop programs that really meet their needs. So now I want to hear a little bit from you. If you'll share your positions, college, university, why you chose this session, and something that you love about your work.
All right, so again, if you would like to respond to that prompt, you can do so in the questions box. So we are happy to read those as they come in. And I do see somebody has their hand raised. Let me, Catherine says, the director of the Writing Center and student tutoring at Coika College. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, in upstate New York. I love helping students succeed. Ira is the associate director of tutoring. He helps students succeed and grow. Nicole, director of academic support at Life University in Marietta, Georgia. Enjoy helping the students fulfill their goals. Lots of answers. Sorry if we don't get to all of them. Julia says Baldwin Wallace. Baldwin Wallace University. Hold on. Looking to create a similar program, working with students. Rena loves supporting students and working towards their goals. Kendra, the director of the LAP, tutoring coordinator at the University of Denver. She loves to help students get excited about learning. Sarah says she loves working with students. Karen says session is very interesting because our students really need additional help additional support to help them be successful. We are getting a lot of responses here, which is awesome. So I apologize we don't have time to get to them all, but thank you guys so much.
Yes, thanks. And I hear a central theme here. Students, 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 students. We care about students and we want to succeed, them to succeed. And that's what I'm so happy about and why I'm so excited to share this with you as well. This started, as a little seed of idea and blossomed, and it's working for us on our campus. So I'm excited to share more information about how that's working for us. But to give you an overall view, and thank you all for sharing too. This is Lamar University, and every program we develop, you have to think about your own student needs. So I wanted to give you a little background into who we are. We're about 17,000 students. Only about 2,000 of those live on campus. So, we have a lot of commuter students. We have a lot of students who are local. And so we have a great need here to grow that sense of belonging here, because it's not a residential campus. As you can see too, almost half of our students identify as African American or Hispanic. So we served underserved populations, and over half of our students are first generation as well. And then also about 30 to 40% of our incoming freshmen are conditionally admitted. They don't meet our top admission standards. So what that means is we have a large student body who's underprepared, and they're taking some online classes. So to us, that connection is really important. A little bit about STAR services, some of the things that we provide. I encourage you to go check out our website. It has all of the more specific information about our programs. But our big services are academic coaching. We have peer and pro mentoring through a voluntary program called Cardinal Communities, tutoring and SI. And then we also offer several different workshops, including a Red Talks workshop series that goes on throughout the semester. We have about 1 to 2 a month. We have success ambassadors when we actually go into classrooms and different organizations and share information about our programs. And then the one I'm talking to you about today, which is our Academic Success Conference. So I also encourage you to go to our website, lamar.edu/ASC. We have a video there of when we first started this, some of the reactions of our students, and information from our academic coach, our student academic coaches too, about the whole session. So that'll give you kind of more of a view of what it looked like. As you can see, this picture here, I think shows a lot about what we're about with Academic Success Conference. The person in the background there on stage on the microphone is a student. We want it to be very, showcasing our students and our faculty. So every opportunity we have, we put students in front of students. We have the round table, so people can get to know each other, and we have our mascots, Big Red and Lou in the background, who are there to really get that connection going with our university. This idea came about, it was sparked. I was sitting in a national conference in a workshop, and somebody said something, and I was like, oh, an academic success conference, that sounds really cool. And then I started thinking there's a real need for that on our campus. And so it sparked with that idea, and I'll share kind of steps that we made. We didn't just one day say, oh, we're going to have an academic success conference, and the next semester it is what you see in front of you. It didn't happen that way. We took small steps, and we'll talk about that a little later when we talk about best practices with planning. But there's some words bolded on your screen in front of you that I think really try to represent what our vision for this, and it's to be engaging, innovative, accessible, empower students, giving them an experience to really kick off their semester and be excited about it. And as you see in our student evaluations later, I think we have really accomplished those things through our Academic Success Conference. And so what did we want to accomplish when we first started? And I think this is the thing we always want to start with, the heart of what's our purpose? What do we want to do? We can't do it all. So what are we going to choose there? And so we kind of whittled it down to 2 things. We have a large underprepared population, so we want to give them information to start off their semester. We know we can't do everything. We're not going to give them all the information. It's the start of a conversation. It's the beginning of that connection, to connect them to even our programs that help them do that. reach their goals long term. But we know that, just one academic success conference isn't going to give them everything they need to be successful their whole college career, but it's to start that conversation. So we really thought about, what we wanted to represent. And I think that was really important for us. We didn't want to create something where we were shepherding students from one thing to another. We wanted to create the college experience as well. They're going to have choices. There's different breakout sessions. It's their choice what to go to and how to participate. We wanted to set the stage for that. So the breakout sessions was a really important part of our planning phase, that we wanted to give them choice and personal responsibility. We wanted to model that in the very beginning. And another huge part is, like I said, we have a large commuter campus. That engagement, connection, belonging, that was really important to us. We have students, about a student staff of usually 25 to 30 student staff who help with this event. They are our MCs. They welcome the students. They co-present with our faculty and staff. They serve as greeters. We have them everywhere. They actually participate in the conference alongside our students, start up conversations at their tables with them. We have school mascots. We still have a dream of getting the school band out there to perform. We haven't quite reached that goal yet, but we're working on it. And then we just want them to feel welcome most of all. And so we were, and I'll talk about this budget later, but we are blessed to have the opportunity to give them incentives. We provide t-shirts. We also added blankets because we got some feedback from students that the room is really cold. And so we're like, what can we do about it? Let's make this experience better for them. We can't do anything about the air conditioning, but we can, make them more comfortable. So, everything that we offer, we try to be very thoughtful in that approach. And so then we had a list of what did we want for students. We haven't been able to accomplish these all every single semester. It had to take a little different form when we went through, when we needed more social distancing measures and things like that. But this is a list, and you can read through them, of really things that we wanted students to be able to take out of this. We wanted them to gain strategies. We wanted them to leave with a personal success plan, some motivation. So it's not just academic, but campus resources, personal development, and just overall resources. Do we have any questions?
Yes, so we just had a great question come in. So Keiko asks, do you have a session specifically for sharing fears or weaknesses that students want to talk about?
Oh, that's a great question. We actually have a large group session on that. There's some things that we have breakout sessions with, but some things that we find very, very important that we want to make sure all students have. So we actually kick it off with, in the beginning, we called it Exploring Your College Fears, and we polled students, or they could write their college fear down and turn it in. And we had a whole panel of students who went up and told how they related to that college fear and what they did about it. We didn't want to, and that took some training too. All of these, we had to learn that, we don't just want to stick a student panel up there and not have them. So we train them to do that. They practice. We have someone over that and over the student staff who have them actually go through college fairs. But this year we changed the language around it a little bit. Instead of college fears, we had our students share their success stories. So we changed the language a little bit there. And had students share, what they're concerned about going into college. So we just changed the language a little bit. We tried that this year and it seemed to work really well. So
Great.
Yes, we have a large group session on that.
And we've had a couple other questions just come in. Karen wants to know, do you have an orientation for your students?
So we do not have an orientation class, because I know some people have a freshman orientation seminar. that, credit bearing. We do not have that on our campus. So that was another one of those environmental factors that led us to say, hey, this is really great. I think if you have an orientation on your campus, if we had something like that, it would be really great to connect it to, and the campus I worked to previously to come into Lamar 7 years ago, we had a really robust first year experience course. And what they did is they actually had their first meeting of the course the weekend before. So you could tie really something like that really great into an event like this where they actually, are more required to go even. But we do not have that, which made us the need for something like this even greater, is that immediate connection all as a group.
And Kendra would like to know, was this offered to all students or just the first years or students using the STAR program?
Okay, and we're going to dive a little bit more into the demographics here in a little bit, but it is offered to all students. You'll see when I talk about our marketing, we market it to everyone, but mainly first year students come, and we'll dive a little deeper into that as we move along. I have some more information about that.
And Christine, I don't know if you have plans to talk about this later, or Rachel, but Christine wants to know how you get buy-in from campus leadership and faculty.
Well, there was nothing like this. So we started, how we got buy-in is we started small and then we showed it worked. We just showed, here's our goal, here's how we met it. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when I talk about our budget later as well. Like, how did we even get the resources for this? I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute.
And Edward wants to know, do you have group sessions with students that are transitioning from the military?
We do not currently, because our specific campus hasn't been a need that has been highlighted for us as of yet. But I think that's a wonderful idea.
Great. That's all the questions we have so far. So if, again, to those of you in the audience, you can continue to ask questions and we will stop periodically to answer them.
So I think a lot of those questions I'm going to dive a little deeper into, but if I don't fully answer any of those questions that I said I'd come back to, please let me know. So I just wanted to really kick this off by saying, we had a goal when we began, 200 students, and we exceeded that for the first time this fall. We would have exceeded it in fall 2020, but that 149 students that you see, we actually had 225 show up, but we had to send some away with information because we didn't have the capacity with social distancing to serve all of them. We actually had this fall more than we had close to 250 students show up, but again, we had some limitations with capacity because we wanted to keep smaller numbers at the tables. So that's something, our goal this next year is 250, because we have added to our recruiting and our marketing, and we consistently serve over 200 students. So they show up. So that was my next question to pose to everybody, because I know, one of the things that set us up for success is that we had a history of success. We had started having some successful workshops with our Red Talks. We had gained some good experiences where we had been averaging about 60 students per session with our Red Talks. So we were like, hey, a workshop is right for our campus. But I know, I've been in this business for a while now, and I hear, some campuses really struggle with workshop and event participation. So just really quick, we'll take maybe 3 of them. What are your experiences with conferences and workshops on your campus?
All right, so Rita is saying not the best. Everything that seems to be put on is like a mini lecture. Mary says attendance at academic workshops is poor. Karen says, I would say we struggle with attendance unless it is required. That's been my experience as well from working in higher ed. I would have workshops with 1 or 2 people, maybe nobody. Ira, we stopped doing workshops for lack of attendance. Julian says attendance is low. I'm seeing a lot of responses come in now, and it's attendance is low. We've struggled. We stop doing workshops. Some places are saying if they get extra credit, then they'll come at the end of the quarter. Raul wants to know if we're asking about in-person workshops or virtual workshops as well.
Yeah. So those are great questions. It is a great way for me to jump into our resources and our strategies and best practices. We have in the past our Red Talks we offer virtually. We offered our conference, we live streamed it, and we didn't have very good participation. So we did that for a couple semesters with, just a very handful of people. And so it just wasn't worth it for us and our student needs to continue doing that at this point in time. We may go back to that later. But I hear a lot of the same things, attendance, workshop issues, and just a little caveat before we get into the Academic Success Conference, our Red Talks, and I've done a workshop on this before too. How did we get our Red Talks off the ground? Because like I said, we average usually anywhere from 50 to 60 per workshop. When I came into STAR Services, that was a real problem. We had academic enhancement workshops, and they had 30 throughout the semester, and we may have 1 student, 0 student. If it was a popular faculty member, we may have 20. So, we really looked at that program and broke it down. And again, I think the most important place to start are your students' needs. What do they really care about? What do they need? And what best fits into, their view of what they need. And sometimes we think, well, they need academic skills development, and let's do all these academic support workshops. But sometimes, they have a large variety of needs, and I think that's what happened. Our Red Talks, we started with marketing. Let's make it sound really interesting. Let's give incentives. Let's build our partnerships across campus. The more faculty buy-in you get, the more student buy-in you get. They relate to students. They bring students with them. And I think that transitions well into our Academic Success Conference. We're going to talk about partnerships, my next strategy and best practice, and I'll dive deeper into that. But what's your overall vision? What's your needs? And then how are we going to make that attractive to students? Incentives are really important. On this screen you see, we worked with our marketing department who developed the logo on that shirt, and they love their shirts. We hear that every year. A shirt may get them in the door, but they leave with great information, and that's really important to us. To make it a really, and it might take a little while to discover your brand and get that out there. And again, we're going to dive deeper into why students actually attend, what they say on their evaluations. I'm going to transition over to resources. I'm going to talk about budget a little bit because I touched on it earlier. I hear, how did you get support from your leadership? It wasn't like, oh, we want to do an academic support conference. Give me $10,000 and see what's going to happen. That is not how this went down. How this went down is when I came here, we evaluated our services, looked at our budget and evaluated that, and we made some changes in how we present our services for tutoring. When I first came here, and we really looked at that through assessment. Our tutors were hired to sit in our center for 19.5 hours a week, which is our maximum that they can work. And I really looked into how many hours are they actually tutoring. So we changed how we do tutoring. Instead of just hiring people to come sit there for hours, we transitioned to appointment-based, and some things had to happen for that to occur. We have EAB Navigate we use for our appointments, so tutors can check their schedules, and we're still working that out. But that transition, that's a question I get sometimes. Oh, were your tutors upset? No, because we promise to fill their schedules, and for the most part, we do that. And then we aren't like, well, you only get paid if you do an appointment. There's some stuff in there for no shows. We do paid training. There's some opportunities to be on our events crew, to have some scheduled walk-in hours that they do sit there and get paid for it if nobody comes in. So we provide them other opportunities to get involved, to have, you know, more of a standard paycheck. But by doing that, we saved a lot of money, and we said, okay, what are we going to put this towards? So we had, that's how we came up with our budget. So if you can really dive deep into your resources, see what are students really using, what are they not, and develop things based on the resources that you already have, you know, it's a lot easier to get these things off the ground. Because we'd had success in our workshops, that, hey, we averaged 60 students this last fall coming to our Red Talk series. I mean, sometimes you have to show that you can accomplish things to get the buy-in. So assessment and evaluation of our programs is really important, and sharing that information and being champions of that, and showing not only how it affects students, but how it affects your student staff. There's a picture right here of our student staff. They're engaged, they're meeting other students, they're learning things, they get professional development. So and just really showing how it is affecting all of your students, I think, is really important. So we also, we reached out to some faculty and staff partners that we have. That's a huge piece of best practices. You can't do this alone. You have to have strong partnerships across campus. We have a strong partnership with our athletic department, who actually make some of their students come to our academic success conference. So there's that collaboration is really important. Having a wonderful place centralized to campus where it's highly accessible to students. We use our campus ballroom, so it's easy to see, and you know, we put up signs all around it. Our orientation, new student orientation department, even lets us borrow their flags. Event today, that we put it all across campus. We have balloons we put up, like, we make it highly visible. So there's a lot of little details in there that attract students. Do you have another question?
We did have another question. Keiko wants to know, are you monitoring retention and success rates of students who have attended the conference versus those who haven't?
We are, and I will share some of that information when we get to our evaluation piece here in a second.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Yes. So resources, it's really important to think about not only money, because there's different things you could do. You know, if you don't have a huge budget, that's what I would say. To get buy-in, start it and show how you can affect students. Get the student voices. You know, no one can argue when a student says, this is exactly what I needed to start my semester. Thank you so much. I don't know what I would have done without this information. That comes directly from students. So if you can start small, like I said, we didn't just jump into this. We started small. We worked with another department on campus and did a study skills conference first, and worked with our new student student engagement heavily. And had over 100 students come to that, and it was like a 2-hour kind of workshop thing, where we pulled our resources and gave the student lunch. That always attracts students, a nice lunch. We have Chick-fil-A on our campus, they love that. But just finding those partnerships, starting small, showing what you accomplished, and that is a really great way to start getting that buy-in from your leadership. Look what we've already accomplished with the little thing we have. What if we have more resources? Here's our goal and what we want to accomplish and what we think we can based on what we've already accomplished. I've already touched on this, but here's some pictures. Collaboration and partnerships are key. In that middle picture, you see faculty members who really support us and come out. And to make it engaging, you know, the first semester, we hadn't established as many of those partnerships. So we had a workshop a session for them where it was collaborate, learn, and prepare. We modeled Learner Center. How do we have activity-based and engaging presentations, and had them have discussion questions to talk about that. And since then, we really haven't had to have that because we have developed, some great connections with faculty member who come out and really relate to students really well year after year. So be thinking about those kind of things. If you know you want to accomplish things, we knew we wanted to have engaging breakout sessions, not lecture based. So what part do we have in that? How can we help people meet those expectations? So us lecturing faculty on, hey, we need you to be engaging, this is how you do it, is not going to work. So we had a session where we discussed why is engagement important and how can you do that? And they had discussion questions and met with students. We had our student staff come to it and share, what has been really great experiences for them and why. And so it just turned out that we have really great support there. And we now, 4 years into it, I just call up the faculty and every year they're like, yep, we're there. Don't even have to think about it. So, and I think being appreciative of them too, we spent time making them because we don't have a budget to buy faculty things, but what could we do to show them their appreciation? We made little picture frames for them that we crafted ourselves. Being innovative in those things and being appreciative and that culture of care, I think is really important to develop those great partnerships. Our students love, we have a faculty panel as part of our breakout session. And we have a couple faculty members who are really good at connecting with students and hyping them up. And students, time after time in their evaluations, say, oh, we loved them. And just having that connection with faculty from the very beginning, because we know how that can be a very fearful thing for students to approach their faculty. And just, showcasing some faculty members who are there, who motivate them and start building those connections with them to help see their faculty members a little differently is really important. And I already highlighted how student staff is integral to this. You can see that last picture. That's our student staff lined up, sharing their success stories at Lamar and what they find is important to them, addressing those college fears. So again, our student staff is front and center for this conference. Another, I said I'd touch on this earlier too, planning. Like I said, we didn't just do this overnight. We didn't say, oh, we want to have an academic success conference, and a month later it came to fruition. Every year we start planning a year in advance. Now it's gotten a little easier for us because we have 4 under our belt, but that first semester we started planning a year in advance. And so I think it's really important. Some of our best practices is to designate a leader. For this conference, I call it my baby. It was a spark of an idea for me. I have strengths in planning and details, and running college programs. So I was like, I'm going to take the lead on this, and I've never given up that lead. I certainly do not pull this off by myself. I will. All of our staff here at Star Services contribute in a heavy way, and we all have our roles, and we all help, and we start planning very early every year. So this picture you have is from our conference. You can see kind of how it looks. It's changed over the years based on need. We're always ready to adapt. Sometimes we've had breakout session 4 choices. Sometimes we've had 3 choices depending on our resources available. One year with everything COVID and social distancing, we couldn't have breakout sessions because moving from room to room was not practical. And so we had desks spaced out and they had to come sit, and we presented the same information to all people, but still tried to get them involved. So every year we look at where we are, what our resources are, and what we want to do. And so it's always growing, and nothing's ever cookie cutter. So starting early is so important. Having a leader who brings it all together, who oversees all that is really important. But I could not have all of this could not happen, and I'm not saying I anymore because it is truly a we team thing. And our team gets so excited about it every year. It's not, oh, we have to do this, because we show up, and those pictures you see of those students, those evaluation results where they're saying, I couldn't do this, I was so scared going into this, I'm not anymore, thank you so much. That fuels us, and we share that information, and just like all of you, we heard student, student, student. We care about student success. We want to see them succeed. I'm here to help students. I am so blessed to be part of a team here at Star Services. That is our core value, and it makes having things, events like this work for us. So subcommittees, we have marketing and recruitment is huge. It is huge. Every year that we've seen, and I'll show you, I showed you the slide earlier about how many participants that we had. Every year we have one person who takes the lead on marketing and recruitment, and then they have a couple people on their team. And every year we're like, okay, we did all these things last year, let's keep them. What's one new thing that we can do to try to reach students? So this year it was going over to the residence hall when students were moving into the dorms. So we set up a tent out there. It was really hot. We had our student staff go out there, gave away little incentives so they couldn't wait to see them at the Academic Success Conference. We had marketing materials there. So that was our new thing this year. So we're continuing to add to it. And, today I just reached out. We do Cardinal Communities, and one of our departments, computer science, requires all their students to be in one of those groups. And we've shared retention data. They're really happy with what's going on. And I was like, wait a minute, is there some special kind of thing we can get to get them more incentive to get that group to the Academic Success Conference? So we target specific groups too. We do a lot there. And so you can see our subcommittees, events and schedule. I head up that one. Facilities and incentives, our administrative support heads up that one. And then we also have a designated leader to oversee all of our conference staff and mainly students. Yes, another question?
One question Stephen asks, with your new approach to how the tutors are scheduled, do they take any walk-ins now, or is it just appointment only?
So we have multiple centers across campus. So in our LU Tutoring Center, which is located in our library, it's mainly appointment based, but we do have some walk-in sessions. We tutor a lot in math, that's a popular one. Our math department has a math shop that they have walk-in. They're strictly walk-in based. So we do more appointment based in our center. But then we also partner with other departments across campus. Like we have a physics lab, we have American Sign Language lab, where we hire, train, and supervise their tutors, and they are more walk-in. So it's a combination.
And no other questions at this time.
Okay. So I've already gone into this one because this is such a huge one, but strategies and best practices in marketing. We are blessed to, again, that collaboration, have a marketing department here on campus who designed our graphic for us, who designs, this is a digital sign that we have across campus, this picture that you see in front of you. So they've been really instrumental in helping us brand. our academic success conference, which has been, and we're really grateful for. We do digital print. We have flyers that go up. We have posters. We go to new student orientation and have people actually register for it so we can send them updates. Like I said, we went to freshman move-in. We have our webpage with our video. We have a registration form on our website. You don't have to register to attend. We encourage registration so that way the people who have registered, we can send nudges and reminders to. We have certain groups that with our conditionally admitted population, we actually send out paper invitations to their home, like a postcard invitation. First gen students, we're sending out invitations. So we also target different groups. And like I said, some of our partnerships on campus say, you need to go to this. But we also see, as you'll see in our evaluation that I'm about to get to, is that even if they are required to go or someone really nudges them hard to go to this, they have a fantastic experience. We see that over and over, and I'll share that data with you. But you can see in my pie chart here how we ask in our evaluation, how did you learn about the conference? New student orientation is the biggest way that they learn about it. But as you can see, people are so important. LU faculty, staff, friend, advisor, people are so important. Word of mouth is so important. If we give little handouts to our advisors when they're meeting with students to register them, so they can give them those. Advisors send, hey, you should really go to this. This is really awesome. Let me introduce you to it. And then also if they hear, a couple hundred students attend this every year, they're like, oh, other students are doing it, I need to do that too. So that's really an important piece of that. But even these 3%, yard signs are big on our campus. It costs us, I think, maybe $80 or something for 10 yard signs. So we put those out. We see our parents taking pictures of them during new student orientation. So digital signs. Again, it's not just one thing, it's a comprehensive approach. If you just send out a flyer, that's not going to work. You have to get your people buy-in. People are really important to our recruiting and marketing. So before we get into the next, I'm going to share some more information about the impact that we have on our students. We're going to look at retention, GPA. Just what are your ideas after, just share a couple, after all this discussion so far, the start of the planning for a conference or event on your campus. What ideas do you have now?
Yeah, we had some people ready to go with this prompt. Rena says, I love the idea of starting small. Mary Catherine says, I'd like to do something for our students on academic probation and coming back from academic suspension. I think that's a really good idea. Still waiting for some more responses to come in, but we had a couple right away that people were very excited about. Ira just says he loves the idea. People another moment to think and respond. It says, but the logistics are already giving me a headache. I think it pays off though. It does take a lot of planning, but you do it in small chunks. I think it'll really pay off. Christine says she wants to invite faculty and staff to recruit students to participate in the planning. That's a great idea.
It is.
Involve them. Don't approach them later. Sophia says this is a great idea to get everyone in the college involved. Delana wants to know how close to the first day of class is your conference held. I'm wondering when the ideal date is to give enough time for publicity.
Yes, our students, so sometimes classes start different times, but when classes start on a Monday, our conference is on the Saturday before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's usually a half day from about 10 to 2:30ish. We provide lunch. That's another. Incentives are so important.
Yeah.
And it's also another way for us to express our appreciation to students. Of we care about you. We're here for you. We want to feed you. We want you to be happy. I think that's really important because do we have some people who come get the backpack and leave? Yeah, we do. And we say, thank you for coming. We care about you. You know, that's their choice. But as you'll see, I have a picture later on. They do, we do this one word activity at the end, like one word that you want to, accomplish here in college or be your college experience. You'll see the picture of all the students who stay to the very end. And, we may have over 200 people sign up and a little over 100 people at the end. But even if they stay through the college fears, they usually don't just grab their stuff and walk out the door. If they stay for something, that's our goal, to make some kind of connection, because it may pay off later on. And that's our perspective on it.
Yeah, we've had some great ideas come in. I would love to co-op with other departments, have an event focusing on student motivation and easing anxiety with the transition from high school to college. Definitely have new ideas for marketing via handouts to advisors and yard signs. Inviting faculty is another great idea. We can offer extra credit to the marketing students for students that participate in the workshop. It can be used as a group project as well. I think that's a really great idea. Yeah, looks like that's all the responses so far.
That's so exciting to me. It's just sparking those ideas. How can we look at our student needs and take different approaches and think about it differently, and and meet our students where they are and meet their needs. So
yeah,
I'm going to move into the piece everybody's waiting for. Some
the
of
data.
our data. As you can see, like you've seen, I've shared what our marketing is. We do heavily go to new student orientation, which is 6 sessions throughout the summer here. It's a one-day thing. They come in. We're at the student involvement fair there. So mainly we get freshmen, 79%, and this is over all the years I looked at it. We've been doing it the last 4 years. So heavily freshmen, but we get other people. And we found that when, almost 20% of the people coming, one of the things that we did, I want to share quickly, is in we highlight a breakout session one year when we knew other people came. We were aware of that. We would highlight in our booklet a breakout session that says, great for continuing college students. Not that freshmen were not welcome to attend that, but things that might resonate with some junior, senior graduate. And we talked to the presenter about that. One year we had one of our staff members is a Paralympian who went to the Olympics in Rio, and she's an advisor here. So she shared, tips for success, based on being an elite athlete. And she brought her wheelchair that she races in, and shared that. So, coming up with innovative things that may resonate with everybody as well. It is mainly freshmen, but highlighting some of those sessions to include everybody is something that we decided to do. Something we're really proud of too is that we are serving our underserved populations. Earlier, I presented that almost half of our students, 47%, identify as African American or Hispanic. And then you can see here that over 60% of our conference participants identify as Hispanic or African American. So being inclusive and accessible to all is really important to us. So that was a little bit about our participants. Then we look at fall to fall retention. Now in my current, I use EAB Navigate Analytics, and for this particular report, I couldn't isolate and take out the academic participants, the ASD participants, so I just, I compared freshmen to our entire freshman population. So as you can see there, fall to fall retention rates, the ASC participation rates, participants are in the darker blue, consistently higher. fall to fall retention. First year cumulative GPA varies a little bit, but first year credit earned is also higher for this group. So that speaks to people. If we can say they're earning more credits and they're retained at a higher rate, that's really important. And then we ask a couple questions too to rate their overall experience. And I'm happy to say we have excellent, good, fine, not so great, and awful, I think, are our choices. We've never had an awful or not so great. We've had a couple fine, but as you can see, the majority, 75%, said their overall experience is excellent, and that's what we're so proud of. We've never had anyone also say no. Did we provide valuable information to start your semester? We've never had anyone out of all of our hundreds of participants say no to that. We had a few maybes, but 96% said yes, and that's what we wanted to get to. And I just want to highlight what they say here. This is what really fills my bucket, makes me excited when I see these comments and I read comment after comment. I feel more knowledgeable. This is how we really gauge, are we doing what we set out to do? We set out to, are we helping them feel a sense of belonging and connect to us, and are we giving them information? And these statements time and time help me understand what I need to be successful. I feel more ready for classes. I'm a returning student. I feel more comfortable. I feel more prepared and excited. So these statements from our students are what really shows us, are we reaching what we set out to do? And these help me say, yes, we are. And we had some more questions.
We had one more question. Mary wants to know if you offer daycare during the conference.
We do not. We do not have the resources to do that. And we haven't seen, if we heard of a need to do that, we would certainly find ways to do so. So I think if your student population needs daycare, that's another great incentive. I think that would be a great idea. And I think that's the biggest thing, is to look at your particular student's needs. This is not a one size fits all. We have designed this for Lamar University and our students' needs, and those are ever growing and ever changing. So we always look back at that and say, what do we need to adjust? So start there, take a deep dive into what are your students' needs. Now, we know for academic support that our greatest strength is that we have expertise and knowledge and experience in academic skills development, in the tutoring, the academic coaching, the mentoring. But to get engaged with students, we have to have information about, we also have to be good at student engagement. We also have to be good at marketing and recruitment. We have to put on many hats. Now, again, we also really try to build those partnerships to get people in marketing. We're not experts at that. If you have experts on your campus, get them in. If you have a daycare on your campus and that's a huge need, develop a partnership with them. I think that's a fantastic idea. Any other questions before we?
Not any that I am seeing at this time. I know a lot of people have to leave because it's the top of the hour, but I think it sounds like we're close to the end. So if you do have any questions, you can put those in the question box, or you can also email them to Rachel. Later, you can email them to our team as well. I'm Rachel C. at Engineerica if you want to respond, and you'll also all be hearing from me with the recording and the documents within a few days.
Yeah, and so my last slide was what questions and comments do you have? I have a couple pictures here I kind of previewed earlier. We have them, and this is in the conference program that is part of the attachments that I gave you, the question that we ask, one word challenge. And so as you can see, they're there at the end, they're excited, look at their faces, they're smiling, they're holding up their word. And that's the biggest payoff for us, because yes, it is a lot of details, but if you start really early, have great partnerships, it doesn't have to be too much on one person. Like I said, our team makes this work. and we are a highly collaborative team, and we can break it, just like we tell our students, to be successful, how do we plan early, break goals into small chunks? We model that in everything that we do here, so it's not too much. I'm not saying there aren't a couple stressful days, when we're packing all of our stuff, and I have my to-do list every year, and the day of the conference, when everything's going on, no matter what happens, there's going to be stressful moments during that, no matter how prepared you are. But for us, again, starting off small and building into what we have, we're really proud of it. And this is the biggest payoff for the students' faces, and just seeing that word growth. They want growth there. That's exciting to us. So, any other
Yeah.
questions or?
None have come in, but you answered so many throughout, so I think that was awesome.
Yeah, I have my email here. Feel free to reach out to me. Again, I care about student success, and I will love to talk to people and be of any support that I can.
All right, and thank you so much, Rachel, for your time. And we thank all of you for coming today. And again, we will be in touch soon with that recording. Have a great rest of your week, and thank you again for being here. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye.